Thank you for joining. So this is Thailand. A very warm welcome to you all. I'm Valerie Mackenzie. Sawadee ka.
I'm Johan Wimonchalau. Swadee krap.
And I'm Tapani Manawet. Sawadee ka.
Now I guess we have to talk today about the value of mobile phones. We've all seen the photograph of Harry, I'm sure, Prince Harry. And it's a warning, I guess, to all of us that whatever you do, nothing can be hidden by anybody. Having a mobile phone, it was a blurred vision, I can understand that. Or maybe the photos, the newspapers blurred it, I'm not sure. But whatever you do now, you're in the spotlight.
Well, everyone is actually a reporter now, as you mentioned. If you have a phone, you can capture everything. Photos, video, and at high resolution as well. So always make sure you're looking the best when you think you're alone.
Actually, in the digital age, everything can be replicated, can be copied, pasted, sent so quickly. So yeah, I guess you have to be extra careful.
And we're not talking about just the individuals, but also in business. You know, if you've got a problem with your business, or if there's an unhappy staff member or unhappy client, they can actually do whatever they like, paste it on the web, and the next thing you know, you've got someone complaining about your organisation. So, sorry, Prince Harry, you were the one who really made us all aware of the problems that we face now with the media using photographs from the mobile phone. So, be warned.
He's sorry, but I think there's a lot of people out there who are happy that it happened.
I think there's a lot of happy ladies out there today.
A lot of people that are not happy about what happened is the people that are experiencing the floods. Of course, in Bangkok, in Thailand, we had the flooding last year. And then the Philippines this year was very bad. Australia's had its time too. Myanmar just recently, and now Phuket. So you have to be forewarned that it can happen to you at any time. It's really the age of climate change. It's certainly changing. Even though they say it's the normal rainfall, sometimes we get that normal rainfall in one day. So take a brolly with you wherever you go and make sure your home is secure.
What's a brolly?
A brolly. Oh my goodness. Look, you have to teach these Americans so many things. It's an English word for umbrella. Now you learn something every day.
Yes, indeed you do.
And it's probably useless information.
Well, looking at the flood, you know, we had talked about how the government is really hopefully trying to step up their measures to prevent the flooding in the future. A lot of those flood prevention plans, opening up the bidding to small businesses as well. But it seems, you know, as you mentioned, the pattern it's slowly creeping north. So you can't really stop it.
No, well, we're hoping that Minister Ploprisop will come to the program. We're hoping that he will come and talk to us. Still, not a lot's been done from what we understand, so we need to find out exactly what are the facts and perhaps what we as individuals can do to protect ourselves.
Well, even the government schemes, the projects that are being started and bidding started, that's going to take a couple of years, but it looks like it could be, you know, sooner than we think.
Well, exactly.
A matter of months, in fact.
Having been flooded last year, I have absolutely everything crossed that my home won't be flooded again. So, who's starting with the talk of the town today?
Well, talk of the town is really an ongoing discussion, and it's about the corruption here in the country and the efforts for anti-corruption initiatives. And the major one coming up right now is the United Nations Development Program and the Anti-Corruption Network teaming together to do a partnership to hopefully educate and retrain and institute real policies which will reduce the amount of corruption here in Thailand. Now, here is a very surprising and shocking statistic. A recent ABAC poll reported that the majority of Thai people, 63%, still hold the view that corruption in government is okay as long as they benefit from it.
Yeah, that seems to be the problem. As you know, I used to work in an anti-corruption agency, and that was the hardest thing to combat because people thought that as long as something was being done, or it doesn't matter if officials are corrupt, as long as they're building stuff or something is happening, they don't care how much money is being wasted as long as they can see some end result. So that really is a huge problem.
Well, they're looking to, like I mentioned, to educate some of the young generation. They're hoping that the power of youth and get them while they're young to instill those honest qualities, and then will help change the situation, you know, the atmosphere in Thailand. But it's hard to change something which is, you might call endemic.
There is a bit of a public awareness program going on. I wonder if you've seen those signs at bus stops, the Growing Good program, growinggood.org and stuff like that. So it's trying to kind of put the message out there that you know, this is not acceptable, and it's about kind of corruption, putting up billboards and stuff. So starting from the really small things, attacking the small subjects first.
And I think we have to go a step further too. I mean, we have employed with the public service some 2 million people. That's a lot of people. We also know that the salaries of certain groups are very, very low. So I guess the government looks at, if you have to increase the salaries of 2 million people, what's it going to cost? Whilst the salaries are so low, for example, for the police, as a given example, for the teachers, they're having to look for ways to actually supplement their income before they can actually live a life. And they've actually, with the teachers, they've got 3 or 4 years of training, with the police, similar. So, you know, I think it's not just a matter of working on the youth, but it's also a matter of us talking about what can be done at the governmental level too.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look at corruption, you're spot on the fact that it's really a symptom of a larger problem. You know, why is there corruption? Why is there the need or the, you know, the desire to skirt the law in that way? But coming up in December, everyone can join in Anti-Corruption Day. There'll be a special I can't say
Exhibition?
Thank you very much. Art exhibition at the Bangkok in Culture Center, featuring anti-corruption themed art. So maybe see some portraits of people up there.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to do something, and I hope we can do it at all levels. Health cards. What's the story on the health cards now?
Right, next up about the health cards. The Yingluckshunawat government is proposed a plan to issue health cards for Thai and migrant children under the age of 6 for free basic health care, including vaccinations as well. At first, they're going to start these basic health care services for children and women, including children of migrant workers. Now, this is a relatively new thing because migrant workers are often neglected in this area of policies, as they're not really covered under any territory, so to speak. But it's good to see that they're going to be receiving the necessary basic health care, such as free vaccinations, and they're also going to be setting up centers for pregnancy checkups, health
checkups.
Health care clinics for children, preschool childcare centers, and centers to help abused children. So, yeah.
Well, I think that we certainly need that, and I think that will also save a lot of costs. When people become very, very ill, then the costs increase. So it's actually getting to the grassroots level, but it's good to see that those underprivileged, those that don't normally have any benefits at all, are going to actually have some support.
Right.
And we should, if they're here as refugees, we certainly need to look after them to save additional costs.
Well, especially with vaccinations, I mean, you're looking at preventable diseases and communicable diseases. So obviously, if they're going without vaccinations, they're passing it on to those people who are in the healthy population. So we're helping ourselves as well.
Right.
Indeed.
And I also think, like, you know, if they're not being well cared for, then it leads to, you know, theft, and, you know, in times of desperation, people get driven to do things. So alongside those developments, I think that's a pretty good initiative.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how it turns out.
Well, my next question is, if you wanted to raise 13 billion baht in taxes, what would you tax?
I guess it'd be cigarettes and alcohol.
No. Petrol?
Right
Not
on.
petrol.
Exactly. There is an expected hike in the excise tax on cigarettes and liquor once again. So it's a great way for the government to make up some lost revenue. There's critics on both sides. Some are saying, well, it's necessary to curb the sinfulness of smoking and drinking. But the others are thinking that, wait a minute, maybe it's there to make up for a lot of the losses that the government has already had. But what they're doing is they're taxing just on, in the Thai word, it's what?
Lao cow.
Lao cow, or we call white alcohol. Local and imported cigarettes as well. But safe beer and wine is not being increased.
Well, the tax on wine is already 40%, is it?
Yes.
400%, excuse me. Yeah, so it's very, very high. Well, I guess it's considered a luxury item, so that's what we're going to see, an increase in those areas. I'm absolutely sure it'll have to come.
Well, I think this ties into the health care and everything as well, because in the past, if you can remember back maybe 10, 20 years, Thailand didn't used to have a universal healthcare system. So the taxes were relatively low on cigarettes and alcohol because I mean, if you did get sick from those things, you're just left to fend for yourself. But now that the government is stepping in and having to raise money to for these kind of schemes, I would hope that there's a direct correlation on the increased taxes that's going into health programs as opposed to building new motorways or things like that.
Well, I hope so, and that's why I think the story you had a few days ago about the fact that give us now, the public, the opportunity to actually invest in the infrastructure and invest in motorways. If that's the case, it's going to do exactly what you hope it will do.
All right, and on to the last news item today, which is about traveling. Now, if you're looking to go to China, it's bad news for you. They've tightened visa rules for visitors, where the visitor will have to provide additional letter of invitation and proof of hotel reservations, slowing down tourism into China. And this is ahead of China looking to become the world's biggest tourist destination in 3 years' time. Travelers who are applying to a tourist visa from China must now submit a letter from their authorized tourism unit from a company or a person inviting them to China, along with a photocopy of a round-trip ticket, hotel reservations, and the whole works. Now, more details are being published in the Chinese embassies and consulates, including the Thai one being published on the website.
Well, I understand most of it. The only thing is, if I want to go to China, how do I get a letter of invitation if I'm going as a tourist? Or perhaps the travel agent handles that for us, I'm not sure. But it's interesting that you want to increase the numbers going to your country, and on the other hand, you put more restrictions.
Well, it doesn't make that sense. As you mentioned, why would you get a letter of invitation from a hotel or a travel agent? The travel agent's already gotten the ticket for you, and it's already through there. So
there must be a reason. What we'll try to do is we'll try to bring someone from the embassy or the ambassador of China to Thailand to talk to us about that on the program very shortly.
Well, apparently China has just become aware of an influx of foreigners working and living within the country without proper documentation. So this is why the drive is being implemented. It's a 100-day campaign, but further to be seen whether it will remain after that.
So we don't go for 100 days after that, we can go in freely again. We'll still try, and I think it's only fair to try and get the ambassador of China to Thailand to actually come and talk to us, because seriously, it's a wonderful country to go to. You can actually spend months going to each of the destinations, but I don't know about the invitation letter. Planning any trips to China?
Not in 100 days.
We're going to go to a break, and then we're going to go and interview about the World Gourmet Festival. And it's all at the Four Seasons. Some great chefs coming this year. Also, a gentleman, a chef, I suppose you would call him, who's a specialist with cheese, and a tea mixologist. What is that? Stay tuned. We're going to give you the whole story at the Four Seasons.